The streetlights on Ridgewood Boulevard flickered like they were tired of keeping watch. A thin boy, barefoot, hoodie too big for his frame, crouched behind a rusted dumpster behind Grady's Liquor. His name was Evan Hale, 15, hungry, and used to being invisible. He didn't expect to witness a crime tonight. Not here. Not in Sleepy Willow Bend, Oregon. Before we start the story, tell us, where in the world are you watching this from? And if you enjoy our stories, please consider subscribing to our channel. It'll help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers and keep sharing more inspiring content with you. The streetlights on Ridgewood Boulevard flickered like they were tired of keeping watch. A thin boy, barefoot, hoodie too big for his frame, crouched behind a rusted dumpster behind Grady's Liquor. His name was Evan Hale, 15, hungry, and used to being invisible. Then 3 men stepped out of a black SUV and moved toward her fast. No masks, just hoods and bad intentions. One blocked her path. One circled behind. One whispered something Evan couldn't hear, but he saw her shoulders tense. Her keys fell. She never meant to drop them. Someone kicked them away. Evan's breath hitched. He'd been living on rooftops and behind stores for 7 months, long enough to know the pattern. Surround, distract, take, hurt. He'd seen it before. The woman didn't back down. "Walk away," she said, her voice calm, steady. Even when one man grabbed her wrist, something snapped in Evan's chest. He didn't know her. She didn't know him. But the look on her face, the quiet fear she tried to hide, was the same one his mother wore the night she disappeared. His legs moved before his brain caught up. He couldn't watch someone else get swallowed by the dark. Evan sprinted across the alley, heart pounding like a trapped animal. He had no plan, no weapon, nothing but instinct and a lifetime of bad nights teaching him when danger was real. One of the men jerked the woman's arm, forcing her toward the SUV. The groceries spilled across the pavement, apples rolling, a carton of eggs cracking silently against the concrete. "Hey!" Evan shouted, voice cracking mid-yell. All 3 men turned. Instant regret punched him in the stomach. The woman's eyes widened, not in fear, but in a sharp warning, as if she was silently begging him, "Don't do this, kid." But he already had. The tallest man smirked. "Look what we got here." A stray. Evan didn't answer. He grabbed the first thing he saw, a metal trash can lid. Not a shield. More like a desperate idea. He swung it at the nearest man. It wasn't heroic. It wasn't clean. It was clumsy and loud and messy. But it worked. The metal clanged against the man's hip. He stumbled, cursing. The woman took her opening, driving her free elbow into another man's jaw. He staggered long enough for her to wrench her wrist free. "Run!" she snapped at Evan. But the SUV door slammed open. A 4th man had been inside waiting. Evan froze. The woman didn't. She lunged at him, grabbing the back of his hoodie and yanking him hard. The move saved his life. The 4th man's hand missed Evan's face by inches. Pain shot up Evan's spine as he landed on the asphalt. Then everything exploded at once. Tires screeched. A horn blared. A passing delivery truck didn't see the chaos until the last second, skidding sideways as the woman shoved Evan clear of the lane. The robbers scattered to avoid being hit. It bought them 10 seconds, maybe less. "You hurt?" the woman asked, kneeling beside Evan. He shook his head, though pain burned through his palms. He'd scraped them raw, sliding across the asphalt. "Name?" she asked quickly. "Evan." "I'm Harper." Before he could respond, one of the men roared in anger and charged. Harper grabbed Evan by the hoodie again, hauling him behind her. She wasn't tall, but she stood like someone who had fought her way out of darker corners than alleys. "Stay behind me," she said. Evan wanted to run. Every instinct screamed it, but something about her voice made him stay. The tallest man rushed in first, throwing a punch. Harper ducked low, swept her boot behind his knee, and sent him crashing to the pavement. She fought clean, controlled, like someone who didn't want to hurt anyone more than necessary. But 3 men were still too many. The one Evan had hit with the trashcan lid tackled Harper into the SUV's rear bumper. Her breath left her in a harsh gasp. Evan didn't think. He grabbed a loose brick near a flower bed and hurled it at the man's back. It didn't break anything, but it distracted him long enough for Harper to twist out of his grip. Sirens wailed in the distance. The men cursed, jumped into the SUV, and peeled away, taillights disappearing into the fog. Harper and Evan were left trembling in the street. Harper put her hands on her knees, catching her breath. Not panic, just the steady recalibration of someone assessing damage. "You okay?" she asked again, looking Evan over. Her voice held that mix of command and concern only certain people carried. "Yeah," he lied. She didn't buy it. "You're shaking." Evan tucked his raw hands into his sleeves. The cold wind stung the scrapes. Harper leaned down and picked up her keys from under a parked car. "You shouldn't have stepped in." "You were outnumbered," he muttered. "So were you." He didn't argue. A police cruiser sped past the far end of the street, chasing the SUV's last known direction. Harper didn't wave them down. Evan noticed. "Why didn't you flag them?" he asked. Harper's jaw tightened. Those men weren't amateurs. They'll be gone before the cops even file the report, and I don't need a night of paperwork. She paused. "You got somewhere to go?" Evan forced his shoulders up. "Yeah, I'm good." "Try again." He swallowed. "No." Harper nodded, as if she'd expected that. She reached into her jacket and handed him a small bottle of water. He hesitated before taking it. "I didn't just step in for you," he said quietly. "I stepped in because I'd want someone to help my mom, if she was still around." Something flickered in Harper's eyes. Not pity, recognition. Then the faint rumble of engines rolled through the night air. Low, powerful, multiplying. Harper straightened, listening. "They're early," she murmured. Evan stiffened. "Who?" She didn't answer. The street began to vibrate. The sound grew, layered, heavy, unmistakable. Not one engine. Not 10. Dozens. Harper stepped forward, shielding Evan slightly behind her as headlights emerged from the far end of the boulevard. A long line of motorcycles, chrome catching the streetlights, exhausts growling, rolled in like a living wall. The Redwood Saints MC. Their patches glowed under the lamps. Men and women, all cut from rough shapes, but moving with disciplined purpose. Evan's breath caught. He'd seen bikers before, fringe groups on highways, loud and rowdy, but nothing like this. A rider near the front lifted his chin at Harper. "You all right, First Lady?" "I'm fine," she called back. The line parted. A single Harley, black paint, silver pinstripes, pulled forward. The rider dismounted. Tall, broad-shouldered, beard streaked with iron gray, eyes sharp but tired. A man who had seen trouble and walked straight through it. Harper exhaled. "That's my husband." Evan stepped back. "I should go." "No," Harper said softly. "Stay." The man approached, boots heavy on the pavement. He took one look at Harper, then at Evan, then at the cracked eggs and scattered groceries. "What happened?" he asked, voice low but steady. "Robbery attempt," Harper said. "Would have gone bad if this kid didn't jump in." The man looked Evan over, not threatening, just assessing. "You helped her?" Evan nodded once. The man extended a hand. "Name's Cole." Evan hesitated, then shook it. Cole's grip was firm, grounding. He glanced toward the darkness, where the SUV vanished. Those men made a mistake tonight. Evan swallowed. "They're coming back?" Cole didn't smile. "They won't get the chance." Cole didn't shout commands. He didn't bark orders. He simply looked at Harper, then at the overturned groceries, then at Evan, and every Redwood Saints rider straightened like they could feel the change in the air. "Load up," Cole said quietly. Engines ignited one by one, not loud but controlled, like a warning breathing through metal. Harper placed a hand on Evan's shoulder. "You're coming with us." Evan stiffened. I can't. I'm not supposed to." Cole crouched down to be level with him, elbows resting on his knees. "Son, you interfered with the wrong crew tonight. These men weren't petty thieves. They're part of something organized. And they saw your face." Evan felt the blood drain from his skin. "I didn't do anything to them." "You embarrassed them," Cole said. "You cost them leverage. That means they'll try to fix the mistake." Harper cut in gently. "We're not letting that happen." Evan stared at the long row of Harleys and riders waiting silently, engines rumbling like protective growls. His pulse hammered against his ribs. "You don't even know me," he whispered. Cole's gaze didn't waver. "You helped my wife. That's all I need to know." Something in Evan, some last brittle piece of resistance, cracked. He gave a small nod. Harper wrapped an arm around him. Not tightly, just enough to guide him. "Good. Let's get home before those guys regroup." Evan blinked. "Home." Harper smiled faintly. "Our clubhouse. You'll be safe there." The Saints surrounded them as they walked toward the bikes, forming a protective wall of leather and chrome. For the first time in months, Evan didn't feel invisible. He felt guarded. The Redwood Saints clubhouse sat on the edge of town, a converted lumberyard with a long wooden porch and a giant metal wolf welded above the door. Warm lights glowed from inside, and the smell of grilled meat drifted out long before they parked. Evan slid off Harper's bike with shaky legs. He'd never ridden a motorcycle before. The wind, the roar, the heat of the engine. It felt like being carried by something bigger than the world. Cole walked beside him toward the entrance. "You hungry?" Evan shrugged, afraid to admit how long it had been since his last real meal. Harper answered anyway. "He hasn't eaten." They stepped into a cavernous room filled with worn leather couches, a stone fireplace, and a long bar lined with photos, club rides, charity runs, a few smiling kids on minibikes. Not what Evan expected. Not even close. A tall woman with dark braids stopped polishing a glass. "This the kid, Evan," Harper said. "He helped me tonight." The woman's expression softened instantly. "Then he's family." Family. The word hit Evan hard, like a bruise he didn't know he had. Cole nodded to the woman. "Tessa, fix him a plate." Evan shook his head. "I don't want to be a problem." Tessa snorted. "Honey, the only problem would be letting you starve." As she walked away, Evan's gaze drifted to a corkboard above the fireplace. Photos of community events, donated bikes, kids' Christmas drives. These bikers weren't the monsters he'd imagined. Harper sat beside him at a wooden table. "Tell us what really happened out there." Evan picked at a frayed thread on his hoodie. He wasn't ready to tell them. Not yet. But he was closer than he'd ever been. Tessa returned with a plate piled, so high it could have fed 3 people. Evan tried to hide his hunger, but the first bite of warm chicken and mashed potatoes cracked his restraint. He ate fast, too fast, until Cole gently placed a hand on the table. "Slow down, kid. Food's not going anywhere." Evan nodded, cheeks burning with embarrassment. Harper leaned back, arms crossed, not interrogating, just waiting. "Those men weren't random. You know that." Evan's fork paused midair. Cole continued, voice low. "Harper said they targeted her first, but the second you stepped in, their focus shifted." Evan swallowed hard. "They followed me," he whispered. Harper sat forward. "From where?" "I don't know," Evan said quickly. "I move around a lot. I sleep behind stores or under bridges. Tonight, I was just passing by. But I've seen guys like them before. Different towns. Same way they watch people. Same look." Cole exchanged a glance with Harper, serious, calculating. Why would they follow a kid? Harper asked softly. Evan's chest tightened. He looked at the food, the fire, anywhere but their eyes. "Doesn't matter." "Evan," Harper said firmly, "if someone's after you, it matters. To all of us." He squeezed his hands together until his scraped palms burned. "I don't want to drag anyone else into my mess." Cole shook his head. "Too late. They came at my wife tonight. That makes it our business. Evan looked up slowly. Cole's voice softened, losing all the steel. Whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it alone anymore. For the first time, Evan wondered if that could be true. The clubhouse lights dimmed as more riders filtered in from outside. Boots thudded on the wooden floor. Jackets creaked. Low conversations filled the air. Evan sat straighter, overwhelmed by their presence. Cole lifted his chin toward the gathering crowd. "Saints, listen up." The room quieted instantly. "This boy helped Harper tonight," Cole said. "Men tried to take her. He didn't hesitate." Heads turned toward Evan. None judged. None doubted. They simply saw him. "He says these men have crossed his path before," Cole continued. "Different towns. Same pattern. We don't know why yet." A murmur rippled through the group. Tessa crossed her arms. Could be a trafficking ring. A rider named Buck shook his head. Or debt collectors. Another, an older man with withered skin, spoke softly. Or someone looking for a kid who wasn't supposed to survive something. The room fell into a contemplative hush. Harper rested a hand on Evan's back. "He doesn't need theories. He needs safety." Cole nodded. "That's why he stays here tonight. Nobody touches him. Nobody questions him. We watch the doors, check the perimeter." "Understood." "Understood," the Saints echoed. Evan blinked, startled. "You don't even know what I've done." Buck let out a dry laugh. "Kid, half of us came from worse." Cole stepped closer. "You didn't do wrong tonight. You saved someone. That tells me more about you than whatever past you're afraid of." Evan's throat tightened. A warmth spread through his chest. Alien but welcome. For once, he didn't feel hunted. He felt claimed. Later, when the clubhouse settled and conversations softened to a low rumble, Harper guided Evan to a side room. A quiet place with an old sofa, a patched quilt, and a lamp glowing warm yellow. "This'll be your space for the night," she said. "Door locks from the inside." Evan nodded, grateful beyond words. The room reminded him of nothing from his past, and yet it felt safer than any place he'd been in months. Harper sat on the edge of the sofa. "You want to tell me why those men keep showing up?" Evan sat across from her, knees pulled to his chest. He shook his head. "It's not simple. Most real things aren't." He stared at the lamp's warm glow. "If I tell you, everything changes." Harper's voice didn't flinch. "Then we deal with the change." Silence stretched between them. The faint hum of engines idling outside vibrated through the walls, a protective heartbeat surrounding the clubhouse. Finally, Evan let out a shaky breath. "My mom disappeared last year," he whispered. "They took her. I saw their faces. They didn't know I was home." Harper's eyes softened, but she didn't speak. "I ran. I've been trying to find anything, any lead. But they're always ahead. They want me silent because I saw too much." There it was, the truth he'd never said aloud. Harper leaned in, steady and grounded. "Evan, you're not alone now. Whatever they took from you, whatever they try to take next, we won't let them." For the first time in a year, Evan exhaled without fear. Harper didn't push further. She simply rose, placed a folded blanket beside him, and said, "Try to sleep. Cole and I will be right outside." When she left, Evan sat alone in the soft glow of the lamp. His heartbeat slowly settled, the room drifting into silence. But sleep didn't come easy. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the SUV, the men's faces, his mother's terrified scream. He sat up, rubbing his temples. He wasn't used to safety. Safety felt like a trick, like something the world used to snatch away just when he reached for it. A soft knock broke the quiet. Cole stepped in, leaning against the doorframe. "Harper said you're awake." Evan nodded, pulling his knees closer. Cole walked in, lowering himself to sit on an old crate across from him. He didn't crowd the boy, didn't pry. He just waited. "You ever ride before?" Cole asked. Evan blinked. No. Scared you? Yeah. Cole chuckled quietly. Good. Means you respect the machine. It wasn't small talk. Cole was grounding him, offering something simple amid the chaos. You know, Cole said, rubbing his jaw. Harper's been through rough nights too. Lost her brother years back. She sees pieces of him in you. Evan looked down, unsure what to say. Cole leaned forward. I need you to understand something. Those men, they won't stop because you hide. They stop when we take away their power to scare you. Evan swallowed hard. And if I bring trouble here? Cole shook his head. Kid, trouble finds us just fine. We choose who we protect. Tonight we chose you. Evan felt something loosen in his chest. Relief mixed with fear, but hope threaded through both. For once, he didn't feel like a burden. He felt like someone worth fighting for. At sunrise, the clubhouse buzzed with quiet activity. Riders checked the perimeter, confirmed the night was calm, and brewed strong coffee in battered metal pots. Evan stepped into the common room, blinking against the orange morning light pouring through the big windows. Harper was at the bar counter, already in a fresh jacket, hair tied back. She handed him a warm muffin wrapped in a napkin. Eat. Evan took it. Surprised, she remembered he'd skipped dinner out of exhaustion. Did something happen? Harper nodded toward the parking lot. Cole and 3 Saints stood around a map laid across a picnic table. A few motorcycles idled nearby, engines warming. Evan's stomach tightened. You're going after them. Harper shook her head. No, we're going to find out who they answer to. That's worse, Evan whispered. Better, Harper corrected. Bullies hide behind bigger bullies. We peel the layers. Evan looked down at the muffin, gripping it until crumbs broke loose. I never asked you to get involved. Too late, Harper said gently. You became our responsibility when you stepped in last night. Cole approached, tucking a folded paper into his vest. We're checking a warehouse outside town. Intel says it's where those guys operate. Evan stiffened. They'll see you coming. That's the point, Cole said. They need to know you're not unprotected anymore. Harper set a hand on Evan's shoulder. We're not confronting anyone. Just watching, listening, understanding the threat. Evan looked between them. Harper's grit, Cole's steadiness. You're risking yourselves because of me, he said quietly. Cole's answer was simple. Family does that. The word hit Evan harder than the dawn chill. Cole and a small crew rolled out, engines echoing across the valley. Evan stood at the window, watching the dust trail fade behind him. Harper stayed with him, leaning against the doorframe with arms crossed. You don't trust adults much, she said, not accusing, just observing. Evan shrugged. Most adults I knew didn't stay. Then maybe you met the wrong kind. He didn't argue. Harper gestured to a wooden stool. Come sit. Tell me about last night. Start from the moment you saw them. Evan hesitated, then sat. Harper wasn't trying to extract secrets. She was mapping danger. He respected that. I'd been behind Grady's, he began slowly. I was looking for recycling bins. Sometimes you find bottles you can trade for dollars. Harper listened without blinking. The SUV pulled up with its lights off. He continued. Not like people running errands. It was deliberate. Harper's jaw tightened. They didn't care about the cameras, Evan added, or about being seen. That's why I noticed. Harper leaned forward. Smart. Most kids your age would miss that. Evan shook his head. I've been watching people like them for months. They move the same way. They don't pick pockets, they grab, threaten, take what they need fast. Harper lowered her voice. And you think they took your mother the same way? Evan's eyes burned. I know it. Harper's breath caught, soft and sympathetic. Before she could answer, the clubhouse door opened abruptly. A young rider, barely older than 18, rushed in, helmet still on. Harper, he said breathlessly. It's Cole. He just radioed in. Harper straightened instantly. What happened? The rider swallowed. They found something. Harper grabbed her jacket, motioned for Evan to follow, and stepped outside where the morning sun washed the gravel yard in bright gold. The young rider climbed off his bike, hands trembling. Cole said he needs you at the old mill. Now. He didn't say much, just that it's bad. Harper mounted her Harley in one smooth motion. She glanced at Evan. Get on. Evan shook his head. No, I'll slow you down. Harper's voice sharpened. Evan, either you come with me, or I leave a rider here to guard you, but you're not staying alone. Evan hesitated only a heartbeat before climbing on behind her. Harper fired up the engine, the roar cutting through the morning air. 2 riders flanked them as they sped down the winding country road toward the abandoned mill on the outskirts of town. Evan tightened his grip around Harper's jacket, wind whipping his hair. He recognized the place as they approached, a boarded-up sawmill covered in moss and graffiti, an industrial graveyard where bad things like to hide. Cole's bike sat parked beside an old loading dock. 2 other Saints stood nearby, tense. Harper killed the engine. Cole, she called out. Cole emerged from the shadows beneath the loading ramp. His expression said everything. He'd found something he didn't want Evan to see. But Evan pushed past Harper anyway. Inside the mill's open floor lay a burned-out shell of the same black SUV from the night before. Smoke curled gently from its frame. But that wasn't the worst part. On the ground beside it was a torn backpack, Evan's mother's backpack, the one she carried the night she disappeared. Evan felt the world tilt beneath him. Evan stared at the backpack, like it might vanish if he blinked. The fabric was scorched along the edges, one strap half-melted, but the faded blue sunflower patch was unmistakable. His mother had sewn it on when he was 7. Evan's knees buckled, and Harper caught him before he hit the concrete. Cole stepped closer, voice low and steady. We found it next to the SUV. Whoever was here left fast. Burned the car to destroy evidence. Evan clenched his fists. She was here. That means she's alive. Cole didn't answer right away. He chose his words carefully. It means someone wanted us to know they had a connection to her. Harper's eyes narrowed. A message. Evan swallowed, throat tight. Why would they leave the backpack? To scare us, Cole said. To scare you. But why? Evan whispered. Cole held his gaze. Because you're not running anymore. They can feel that shift. Harper crouched beside Evan, placing a hand on his shoulder. Listen to me. Finding this isn't the end, it's the beginning. It means they're sloppy. It means they're worried. Evan's breath shook uncontrollably. The world smelled of burnt rubber and damp wood, the air thick with secrets he'd been chasing too long. Cole pulled a metal tag from his vest pocket. We found this too. He handed it to Harper, who examined it before passing it to Evan. A brass key fob, scratched but readable. Lockridge Storage, Unit 27. Harper looked at Cole. They're storing something. Cole nodded grimly. And we're going to find out what. Evan clutched the backpack to his chest, not grieving this time. Stealing himself. His mother's trail wasn't cold. It had just caught fire. The ride to Lockridge Storage took 20 minutes, but to Evan it felt like the miles stretched forever. Harper rode with him again, her posture rigid, jaw set. Cole and 6 other Saints formed a tight formation around them, silent, focused, purposeful. The storage facility sat at the edge of an industrial stretch, rows of metal units lined up like prison cells. A chain-link fence rattled in the wind. The place looked empty, abandoned even, but Cole didn't trust silence. None of them did. They parked by Unit 27. Cole lifted a hand. Everyone froze. He bent down, studying the lock. Not broken, he whispered. Fresh scrape marks. Meaning? Harper asked. Someone opened this recently. Evan's heart pounded. He stepped closer, too close, and Harper grabbed his wrist gently but firmly. Not until Cole checks it, she said. Cole nodded to Buck, who flanked him. Another rider, Tessa, circled wide to watch the rear. After a tense beat, Cole drew in a breath and pulled the door upward with one sharp motion. The metal screeched. Inside, Dust motes danced through dim light. Not much, an old mattress, cardboard boxes, broken shelving. It looked abandoned. But Cole moved to a small wooden crate in the far corner. Blood, he muttered, pointing to a dried smear on the lid. Evan's legs wobbled. Harper steadied him. Cole flipped open the crate. Inside lay a stack of photos, grainy shots of people entering motels, gas stations, rest stops, all taken from afar. People being watched. And near the bottom of the stack, a photo of Evan's mother, taken weeks ago. Alive. Evan's breath hitched, hope and fear colliding hard enough to shake him. Harper crouched beside the crate, blood draining from her face. She's been monitored, followed. Evan lifted the photo with trembling fingers. His mother stood near a bus terminal, hair tied back, looking over her shoulder like she sensed something behind her. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't safe. But she was alive. Cole flipped through more photos. This is a tracking operation. Organized. Consistent. Whoever's behind this didn't just take her. They've been moving her. Evan swallowed hard. Why? She's just a waitress, just nothing. Harper cut in. People get hurt or taken because they're alone, not because they're unimportant. Buck held up a folded paper, found inside the crate. Cole opened it carefully. It was a map. Highways circled in red, certain cities crossed out. At the bottom was a handwritten note. Next drop, Morrison Ridge. 48 hours. Evan leaned forward. Is she there? Cole's expression tightened. We don't know. But someone important to these men will be. Harper stood, resolve hardening in her eyes. We go. Evan shook his head, fear rising. No. If they see you coming, they'll hurt her. They'll hide her. Cole knelt in front of him, voice steady like anchoring steel. Evan, listen to me. You are not going into this alone. Your mother is alive. That's the first real lead you've gotten in almost a year. We're not backing off now. Tessa stepped beside them. We won't confront unless we have to. We observe first. Shadow them. Learn the pattern. Evan looked around at the circle of riders, each face determined, each person ready. This wasn't vengeance. It was a rescue. For the first time, Evan felt a flicker of something long buried. Trust. The planning table back at the clubhouse looked like a war map. Roads, timing notes, escape routes, lookout points. But the room's atmosphere wasn't violent. It was protective, focused, human. Cole pointed to Morrison Ridge, a secluded truck stop at the base of a winding mountain pass. This place is remote. One entrance, one exit. If they're meeting someone there, they think they'll be unnoticed. Tessa nodded. We'll stage riders along the ridge, spaced out. No patches showing. Buck added. 2 scouts on foot. Binoculars. Record everything. Harper looked at Evan. You stay at the clubhouse. Evan's chest tightened. I need to be there. Cole shook his head. If they see you, everything falls apart. Evan wanted to argue, wanted to scream, but he saw the logic. His face was known. His presence was dangerous. And Harper was right. These men didn't need a reason to hurt him. They needed an opportunity. Let me help, he said quietly. Please. Harper glanced at Cole. He nodded. You help from here, Harper said. We'll take your memory, your details. Any pattern you remember, any faces. You guide our eyes. Evan exhaled slowly. Not control, but purpose. Okay. As the Saints prepared their bikes, checking mirrors, loading radios, adjusting jackets, Evan watched them move and practiced harmony. Not a gang. Not vigilantes. A family built through scars and second chances. Harper squeezed his shoulder. We'll find her. Evan swallowed hard. Bring her home. Engines thundered to life outside, one by one, until the ground vibrated. The Saints rolled out into the dusk, and Evan waited, heart pounding, caught between terror and hope. Night settled over Willow Bend like a quiet warning. Evan sat in the clubhouse's side room, Harper's patched quilt wrapped around him. A radio sat on the table, crackling intermittently with updates. Tessa's voice came through first. Position 1 in place. No movement yet. Static. Buck's voice next. Truck just pulled in. Doesn't look like our guys. Evan closed his eyes, anxiety twisting his stomach. Every second stretched. Then Cole's voice, low and steady. Black van. No plates. 2 men inside. Looks like the ones from last night. Evan nearly dropped the radio. Harper's hand steadied his. Buck whispered through the channel. They're carrying something. A case. Evan's pulse hammered. A case? What kind of case? Harper didn't answer immediately. Her jaw tightened. Cole's voice again, quieter. They're waiting for someone. Not her. Someone bigger. Another long, suffocating minute passed. Then a new voice came over the radio. Tessa's, sharp and urgent. Target approaching. Woman. Hands bound. Evan's breath caught painfully. Is it? Silence. Then Cole said, voice somber but steady. Not your mom. Someone else. Mid-20s. Terrified. Evan deflated, relief and guilt colliding violently. Harper gripped his hand. Another victim. This is part of the operation. Cole continued. We stay hidden. No contact until we understand the exchange. Another engine approached. Deep. Heavy. Tessa hissed. Oh no, oh hell. Cole, look. Cole responded slowly. Well, that changes things. Evan's heart pounded against his ribs. What happened? Harper lifted the radio closer. Cole's voice came back, dark with certainty. That isn't a pickup. That's 40 bikes. Another crew. Someone wants this trade protected. Harper's eyes widened. Evan whispered, terrified. Are you surrounded? Cole answered without hesitation. No, we're outnumbered. The clubhouse trembled with the low rumble of distant engines as Evan pressed closer to the radio, Harper clutching his shoulder. Cole remained calm on the transmission. Everyone hold positions. Helmets up. No patches showing. Buck whispered. Other crews surrounding the van. These guys aren't amateurs. They're organized. Tessa added, voice tight. Woman's crying. They're forcing her into the van now. Evan's stomach twisted. We have to help her. Harper knelt in front of him. We will. But right now, we have to protect the mission. If we blow our cover, they vanish with everyone they've ever taken, including your mother. Do you understand? Evan nodded shakily, tears burning behind his eyes. Cole's voice cut through the static. Hold. Hold. They're leaving. Engines roared. Tires shrieked. The van rolled out first, escorted by the biker crew, their exhaust echoing down the mountain pass like a dark convoy. Then, slowly, the voices on the radio eased. Buck, they're gone. Tessa, road's clear. Cole, we regroup at the clubhouse. No tails. Evan sagged in relief and frustration, heart pounding hard enough to hurt. We were so close. Harper cupped his cheek gently, forcing him to meet her eyes. This is how real missions work. You gather pieces until you have a full picture. Tonight gave us more than we had yesterday. Evan clutched his mother's photo to his chest. Pain and determination fought for space inside him. Cole's voice came through one last time. Evan, we're coming home. And when we roll out again, every single saint is riding with us. Evan swallowed hard. Home. He'd almost forgotten what that felt like. But now he remembered, and he wasn't letting go. When the saints returned, Evan stood waiting, not hiding, not running. Hope burned steady in his chest. His mother was alive, and he wasn't alone anymore. If this story touched you, subscribe, like, and join our family, because loyalty, once given, can change everything.